Hi, I want to show you the Bluetti-EB3A portable power station in case you're interested in getting one. Now, I own and have tested many portable power stations, so I'm eager to show you this one. So in this video, I want to show you what you get when you purchase this, as well as go over some of the features of this portable power station. And full disclosure, Bluetti did send this unit to me for review, but everything in this video is my own opinion. All right, let me show you everything that you get when you buy this portable power station. It arrives like this. It has nice thick foam, so you know it's going to be safe in transport. You have your warranty card and stuff, and then you have the power station itself, and this unit has a handle so you can pull it off and hold it by the handle itself, and that handle actually can fold down in there to have it flat. So this is the unit itself. Also down in here you get a cable, and this cable right here is the solar charging cable. And so these ends here are MC4 connectors. These are waterproof connectors that go to a solar panel, very common. And so it's nice that they include this. And then it connects into this DC barrel port here, which I believe is a 4mm in outer diameter. And it fits right into this charging port down here. So that's where that would fit in. And obviously the other end goes to a solar panel. And then down here at the bottom, you have an AC charging cable. And so what's really amazing and awesome about this is that it does not require an external power brick. And so you can charge right from the wall AC right into this port down here. So you don't have to carry anything extra. And this charging cable right here is a very standard AC plug. So even if you were to lose this or misplace this or take this to a friend's house and you forgot about this, this is just such a common type of cable. You can find it pretty much in anybody's house, anywhere. So that's nice that it's very standard and common. Okay, I've had a chance to play with it, so I'm going to go over all the specs and features of this unit. And if you're interested, I am making a longer review video testing everything out and all the functions. So if you're interested in that, look for that video. First, let's take a look at what it looks like here. This is the side, this is the back, this is the other side. And I did show you the top with the handle. On the top here is a wireless charging pad. This thing is great because it is a portable power station. It has AC and DC power outputs and inputs. You turn on the unit down here with this power button and you're greeted with a very nice display. I should say that the batteries in here are 268 watt hours of total capacity, and they are lithium iron phosphate batteries, which means they're not only one of the safest batteries that are out there, but they're also one of the longest lasting. So this unit here is rated at 2,500 charge cycles down to 80%. And what that means is that if you were to take this battery, you can see it's at 88% right now. If you charge it up to 100%, started there, went all the way down to 0%, and then charged it all the way back up, that would be counted as a full charge cycle. So if you did that once a day, 100% all the way down, all the way back up, if you did that once a day at 2,500 cycles, that's about 7 years. And so you can expect it to last even longer than that, because that doesn't mean it just quit at 7 years. That means that the original capacity of that battery pack inside is going to be a little bit lower. So this is going to last a really, really long time. So you can see that the screen just shut off. What that means is it's going into power saving mode, and so that's what you want. You don't want this thing to just be leaving the screen on all the time and using up battery, which you don't want it to do that. So you just push the power button, it comes right back on. Let me show you what's on the front here. Let's start with the charging options. Under this dust cover is the AC charging port, which is down here, and this thing can charge at a maximum of 350 watts of AC power, which is, for something this size, is pretty amazingly fast. It can also charge by DC power down here, which means you could use another power brick that outputs between 12 and 28 volts DC. You could use a solar panel up to 200 watts. That's what this can take. or you could use a plug that comes from your 12-volt carport and plug it in down here. That's a separate accessory that you could buy. But those are all different ways that you can get DC into this unit. And you can actually charge the AC and the DC at the same time to get a much more quicker recharge on this whole battery. All right, now let's talk about outputs. We'll start with the DC outputs. Right here is a 12-volt carport. And it's got two barrel ports that also output 12 volts DC. It's got USB-A ports that are 10 watts, the 5 volts up to 2 amps. And then it has a USB-C output here, which can do up to 100 watts, which is really great because you can run your MacBook or other high-powered computers or devices from this 100-watt power delivery port. Down here it has two AC ports, and the AC inverter on this unit can output 600 watts of AC power at 120 volts with a pure sine wave, so it's not a modified sine wave. And it has a feature that called a power lift feature that you can output these, you can get 1200 watts out of these. Now that you have to caveat that because that is only for resistive loads, and my guess is when you enable that mode, it's going to lower the voltage below 120 volts in order to reach that 1200 watt maximum output. These do have a surge wattage of 1200 watts. And so what that means is when you have, say, a small refrigerator and its surge need to get that compressor started, if that surge need is 1200 watts or less, then this unit is going to be able to power that little mini fridge, which would be quite amazing. So if you're curious about that, make sure you look up the specs on your unit. It can definitely power a portable refrigerator that runs off of 12 to 24 volts through this guy up here. And so it also has a light over here, and so you can turn it on. It's got a low and a high, and then it has an SOS function. Now the AC and DC ports don't turn on automatically. There's a button to enable them, so you can push this and it turns on the AC. You can hear the relay click, and then this here doubles as the on-off button for the whole unit and the on-off for the DC power. So if it's already on and I push it again, the light comes on, which means all the DC ports are on. The wireless charging at the top here also runs off of the DC port. So if you were to take your phone and put it on here, you can see it's already charging my phone. All right, so let me show you the screen with my phone up here charging wirelessly. I have the DC on right here. So you can see it shows you both input and output wattages, which is great. So some power stations will only show you 1 wattage and you kind of have to guess, or maybe there's a little icon in the corner that says input or output. Here you clearly have 2 separate values. And you can see here with my phone charging wirelessly, it's using about 8 watts of output power from the DC. Here you have your state of charge, this 88%, and I like this little blue line here that kind of shows you how full the tank is. And it also has a time to zero or time to zero percentage, which it takes a guess at based on the current output rate, how much time can you expect before it gets to zero. And right here you can expect about 20 hours. The screen also shows a number of other different functions. For example, you can see this says Eco right here, and that's economy mode where it's going to try to save battery power as much as possible. In the smartphone app, you can turn this off. Another thing that this will show is when you have it plugged into the power grid down here, and there is a load over here, or your AC inverter is on, it will show a UPS on the screen here. And what that means is that when you have this plugged into the power grid, the AC power that's going into here is directly tied to here. So you're actually using grid power when you're using these. And if you were to interrupt this, that's where that UPS function is going to come into play. And so when you say pull the plug and you're running loads off of this AC inverter, it will in milliseconds automatically switch over to powering these units, and you won't really even notice the difference. So that's really cool. It has that UPS feature. The EB3A can talk to the smartphone app, and it's really nice that you don't have to log in. So you can see here, I just opened up the app and it says available Blue80 devices, and it communicates by Bluetooth with the device. So I didn't have to log in anywhere. I didn't have to give my email. And you can see it's automatically connected to the device, and I can see all of the information that I can see on the screen. I actually have a little bit more control over things here. There's different switches for turning DC and AC on and off. I can see the various inputs and outputs. And then over here on this settings, here's where I can change the eco mode on and off, and I can turn on the light. I can change the charging mode. You can change it even to the fast setting here and the turbo setting, or the silent setting where it's not going to run the fans, or you're not really supposed to hear it. And then you can also go here to upgrade your firmware. So I just click on that and it says I'm already up to date. So, but if it needed to update it, just one click and it'll do it automatically. The EB3A also has pass-through charging, which means that when you have input wattages coming in down here, you can still use any of these outputs on the whole unit at the same time. All right, let's find out how much this guy weighs. For 268 watt-hours of capacity, it weighs 10 pounds and about 3 ounces. So you're gonna get all that capacity and 600 watts of AC output and all these DC options in 10 pounds with this nice handle. So this has been a look at the Blue80 EB3A.